Hello and welcome to another Cooking on a Budget course at Bridgend Farmhouse. For the people who are new, this is those Cooking on a Budget courses are normally done at Bridgend Farmhouse because of lockdown. We've moved the system here home, so we're doing some Cooking on a Budget here home. We are doing a Peruvian cookery for this month, and we've done 3 sessions now. So today we are going to go vegetarian. And we are going to do a traditional Peruvian dish from a type of cuisine we've got in Peru, because we've got many different styles. This is called cocina criolla, which is basically the fusion between Spanish cookery and the indigenous cookery from Peru. So it's got a mixture of techniques and a mix of ingredients, no? So in this case, for example, we're going to do a locro. Locro, it's an Inca and pre-Inca dish, which is basically like a stew, a pumpkin stew, that's also made up by potatoes. Traditionally, the basic locro has, well, this is a butternut squash, but you would use any type of pumpkins, or a variety of them together. Then we've got potatoes. I've peeled some potatoes here already. And we've got corn, and we've got a chili paste here. Normally in Peru we've got ají, but you can get ají here over the internet. From London I get it. But I was in the Asian shop the other day and I found this paste, chili, a mild chili paste. So I was talking to the guys in the shop and they told me to try this one. So we're going to have a go. So those ingredients here are the Peruvian side, the locro classic or basic locro ingredients, and then the Spanish brought over things like cheese and the onions. So let's start. As usual, I'm going to start by my rice. You know how in Peru I was saying that rice is super important, so I'm just going to quickly put on our rice. And for our Peruvian rice, we always use, at least I always use, a couple of Jamaican spice or allspice and a garlic. The garlic I'm just going to crush really quickly. I'm going to get those ingredients out of the way and then I'm going to continue. So first I'm going to finish the rice. So a garlic goes in there, a wee bit of oil, and then for 2 people you want a cup of rice. I usually do a bit more because I eat loads of rice, and I can also have rice for tomorrow for a wee lunch. So here is our 1 cup. I'm going to throw a cup and a half. And normally the recipe for rice is double the amount of water than rice, but I put a little bit less than double amount of water. So instead of 3 cups, I'm going to put 2 cups and a half. So that's 1 and 2 and 2 and a half, like that. Then a wee bit of salt. I got the sea salt the other day. A bit of salt in there. Going to stir it. You know, I stir it at the beginning just to get the salt and everything mixed around, but then you don't want to mix the rice. You just want to leave it, cover it, bring it to the boil, and then reduce the temperature and then let it cook. So that's my rice there. Just going to cover it, and in the meantime just going to put this to one side, and then we are going to prepare the vegetables for the locro. Okay, so let's see. Criollo cookery is a very important part of Peruvian cookery because we've got a very big influence from the Spanish colony. and the Spanish brought their cuisine, which is also influenced. There was a lot of the Spanish conquistadors. A lot of them were from the region of Andalusia and Extremadura, which has a big influence of Arab cookery. So that also went to Peru, no? And so that is also part of what we call criollo cookery. So I'm just going to peel my butternut squash. I usually use a peeler. I'm just going to do it up here. You can also use a knife, but I know with the, I'm not getting this, you normally, this peeler is not working fantastically today, but you can use a knife, as I say, but you waste a lot of the flesh with a knife. So we are all about saving as much food as we can and avoid food waste, because we are, food waste is one of the biggest contributors to global warming, actually, because all food waste just goes to wasteland, and then it gets obviously it rots and it produces loads of methane. And methane is actually a worse, it's a gas that it's worse for global warming, for the heating, than CO2. So we want to avoid as much food waste as we can, save your peelings and save a penguin. Vania, hi Vania, that's my cousin from Peru again. Hi Vania, how are you doing? Estamos haciendo un locrito hoy, a ver qué tal sale. Muchas gracias a toda mi family from Peru that have been very supportive watching this program, and we've been getting lots of advice from them. So stay tuned for next program. We're going to do a saltado de atún, which has been an advice from my family that they want me to show you around here. So that's coming next week. So, okay. I'm going to start. So I normally, for the butternut squash, give it a cut here, and then I get a spoon, and I spoon the inside out. You know what? Those seeds, you can actually, just as they are, you can throw them in the oven and toast them with flesh and everything. And they're actually really nice. So actually, you could even keep this and eat the seeds, which are actually very healthy and very nutrient also food. Okay, so that is our butternut squash. Very nice. Got my wee little bin here. Okay. They say if food waste were a country, it would be the 4th most contaminating country in the world. So you've got China, the States, I don't know who else, India probably. They're not very populated countries. And then the 4th country would be food waste, because it is really bad for the environment. So for example, at Bridgend nowadays what we do is when we run the cafe, when the cafe is not shut down through restrictions, we, for example, instead of selling mashed potatoes, we sell crushed potatoes. And the carrot soup, for example, we actually don't peel the carrots. We wash them very well, and we use the peelings also in the carrots to produce food. So I'm cutting the butternut squash in wee chunks. You don't want them too small, but you don't want to be 4 hours waiting for it to cook either. So this is sort of, this one butternut squash will probably feed 6 people. So I'm making I'm making a big bunch of, I'm actually not going to use it all. I'll probably do a pumping bread or something because this is too much for today. So that's our butternut squash. Just going to put it aside for a moment. So that's our butternut squash. Our onion, the same. You want to cut the root and the head, and I normally just cut it through the middle. Then just give it a wee peel. Okay. Where is my bin? I'm going to bring my bin over. Okay. Now, next, just going to chop the onion in squares, like a sort of brunoise, thick brunoise, like this. So a brunoise is a type of cut you use for vegetables. You've got like mirepoix, which is a very thick, when you're going to make a stock, for example, just really roughly chopped. I think the French decided to put a nomenclature in food. They didn't invent food, but they did create like a set of vocabulary so that everyone in the world can sort of understand. So if you're working in a kitchen in Japan, you know, you don't need to speak Japanese, you just need to understand the French terminology. I think that's the purpose. And I'm going to, here's my onion. Okay. I'm going to do my carrot, my choclo, corn. This is very typical in Peru, and it's an important component of locro. You need to be very careful cutting this because the core is quite hard, yeah. So your knife can slip. So just be careful with that. Okay. So now that we've got all the ingredients cut, see, before you start cooking, the best thing is to prepare all your veg, to cut, peel, wash, and have everything ready. So the next part of the process is just cooking, because if you have to start peeling and chopping half the way when your pan is on, you're going to end up burning things, drying things, you know. And I think with a wee bit of method, you also end up enjoying a wee bit more the process, you know. It can sometimes be a bit stressful to be cooking and not being ready, not having all your ingredients ready to cook. Okay, so I'm making a lot of locro today. I don't think I'm going to use all of this. So I'm going to put my rice here at the back. To put the rice here, and I'm going to start to put my pan on, a wee bit of oil, and we're going to let this warm up a little bit, and then we're going to sweat our onions. We don't want the onions to get colored, but we just want to sweat them a little bit, no? And then, let's see. So, you know, now that restrictions are easing at Bridgend, we're going to start to move our activities back back on site. So stay tuned, and you know, just I would like to invite everyone to come over to Bridgend. It's a very nice space, and we're working a lot so that we can make the space safe for everyone. We've got another message coming from Margarita and Zoraida Fernandez, those are my aunt. Hola tia, how are you doing? Yes, everyone's really liking the locro here. Yeah, everyone is liking the locro. I think locro is going to be a very popular dish around here because you've got all the ingredients really, and it's very easy to make, and it's very cheap also, you know. So I'm going to throw in you throw in your onions, give it a wee stir. Want to sweat them a wee bit. Very nice. I'm going to, at this point, add a spoonful of this pepper paste. It's a mild pepper paste. In Peru we use ají amarillo, but I couldn't get. You can get ají amarillo. I've got some ají amarillo in the fridge, but I wouldn't want to. It's not necessary to get ají amarillo to make this dish, you know. You can use any. As I was saying, I got this in the Asian shop, but I'm sure you could use any kind of chili paste, but just be careful that you don't have anything too strong, no? So I'm giving this a wee fry. Okay. Next I'm going to throw my locro, like that. I'm going to throw this on, and then I'm going to throw my potatoes. Let me get those potatoes here. Going to throw some potatoes. There you go. I'm going to use, just going to turn this down a wee bit. Okay. I got some vegetable stock earlier, so we're just going to cover this. We don't really need to cover it. You actually don't want to cover it. Okay, a wee bit more. Okay, that's it. You see, I am not covering it. I'm adding just like a little bit less than you know, it's not getting to the top of the veg. Then I'm going to throw in my choclos. With choclos in there. And normally in Peru, you would use a herb called huatacay or huacatay. But you can't get that herb here. So what I'm doing instead, I'm using some mint, which works quite well with the locro. Huatacay is actually in English is called black mint, although it is from the family of the marigold actually. Yeah, the mint works quite well. A bit of this. Going to throw it a wee bit of salt. A wee bit of salt there. And I'm going to also add the cheese. I'm going to add some cheese now. Some people add the cheese also to the end. I like the cheese just to get to dissolve into the dish. I bought this cheese in Aldi. It's a feta cheese. I must say the feta cheese from Aldi, it's not my favorite, but it's really cheap, you know, and it's for cooking, so I'm quite happy with it for cooking. It's actually not bad. Okay, so that gets covered there. Now we're going to cover it. So now we're going to let this boil for around 20 minutes and then it should be ready. In the meantime, I'm going to show you another dish that is very typical in Peru, and it's called, well, some people call it ensalada criolla, which is a very typical, salad that we do. Okay, Junior, there's Junior. Hi Junior, how are you doing? Yeah, well, I think we could do a bit of a dance, yeah, maybe by the end of it, why not? And Patricia, hi Patricia, ¿qué tal? How are you doing? All the Peruvian community is joining us today. ¿Qué tal, Pati? Estamos aquí cocinando un poquito. Saludos. Okay. So this is the basic locro. You can also jazz it up a little bit. So this locro, you could put prawns in it, or you could put beef, lamb, pork, chicken. You know, you could just add as much pieces of meat. You could add different kinds of meat to this locro, but the basic locro is basically a stew made with pumpkin, potatoes, and corn. That's the base. Okay, I am going to give my place a wee clean. Okay, I think, yeah, I am not the tidiest person in the world. For who knows me, I think will know that that's not news. Pepper. A wee bit of pepper we're going to add in here also. So if there is any dish, we're going to have our last Peruvian cooking on a budget next week. So if there are any dishes that you would like to learn to prepare from Peruvian cookery, just leave us a wee note in the comments, and we will try to make that for you. So, huatacay ají es para muchas comidas ricas. Oh yes, of course. Of course, huatacay is such an important herb in Peru for many different kinds of cookery. In my city in Arequipa, we use it quite a lot. You use it all around Peru, but there are certain areas in Peru where it's a bit more popular than others. So yeah, it's a shame you can't get it here. You can get a paste, but I wouldn't recommend to buy that paste. That's just not. Or you can actually get the seeds and plant them yourself. You know, my mom's got some huatacay, but the season, the herbs are just growing, so I couldn't get hold of any fresh. I'm going to make a ensalada criolla, and that is a very typical and really tasty, very fresh salad that we eat in Peru all the time, and it's basically onions, tomato. You can put lettuce, coriander, lemon, and ají or rocoto. That's all you put in it, but it's really tasty. So I'm going to start by doing a few tomatoes. You know, I mean, I don't want to show off, but did you know that tomatoes are Peruvian? All the Solanaceae family of tomatoes are Peruvian. So you've got aubergines, tomatoes, potatoes, the family from the nightshade, I think it's called in English, are a South American. It is believed that potatoes are original from Peru. Then, of course, in South America there is a bit of debate. You know, some countries attributing the origin of potatoes to themselves. But obviously, me as a good Peruvian, I'm going to say that potatoes are definitely Peruvian. The same as tomatoes. Okay, so I'm going to put my here. I'm going to make my salad here. I'm going to put my onion. Again, I'm going to cut it julienne type. When you make a salad in Peru, it's very important, super important, that your onions are cut really, really, really thin. So you just take your time and cut your onions quite thin. This salad is really easy to make, and if you've never made the salad, honestly, try it. The secret here is the coriander and the lemon, I would say. And another thing, you want to rinse your onion before, because onion, as you know, can be very strong. So we want more than the punchiness of the onion, we want the flavor of the onion. So I'm going to give my onion in very cold water. Tap water from Scotland is very, very cold anyway, so we're okay there. So that's our onions. That's our onion. I'm going to get some of our coriander. I'm just going to chop it roughly, like that. That's all we need. Bit of that there. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my chopping board. And this is our ensalada criolla. This you would serve, you know what I like this salad I really like with fried chicken and rice. Fried chicken and rice, it's again another Peruvian, probably in other countries is also very popular, but if you want to make any Peruvian happy, just cooked rice and fried chicken, and that is like the national anthem again. So this is this with salad like that. And you know, right now I'm not going to dress it, but this you want to dress it with a piece of lime. You want to dress it with lime and olive oil, maybe. I wouldn't be fussed about using olive oil in this salad, although olive oil is great in salads. In Peru, at least in my days, you don't tend to use olive oil. Olive oil, I think as contrary in Europe, olive oil in Peru is way more expensive, and people just don't use that much olive oil. You normally use cottonseed oil is the one we use, and we use it for our salads also. And also cottonseed oil hasn't got such a powerful taste as olive oil has. So the taste of the salad doesn't include olive oil taste, you know, because this olive oil is very powerful. Now, me, after living so many years here, I do use olive oil in my salad. I've got used to the flavor, but that's not necessary. And another thing, which I bought from the internet for £3, pasta de rocoto. This is very, very hot, and you can add a wee spoonful of that, or again, any kind of chili. If you want maybe to throw a tiny bit of Tabasco in there, that would do the job also. But yes, so that salad is very typical, very cheap, and honestly, it's fantastic. So I would say that this is nearly ready. I'm going to let me see. At this point, I'm going to throw a bit of milk. In Peru, we use evaporated milk. Normally, we don't use this kind of whole milk or semi-skimmed milk that the kind you find around here in Europe. The traditional way we buy milk in Peru is evaporated milk. So you buy a wee can, this size that you can keep in the cupboard. It's like UHT, but concentrated. You get used to the flavor in Peru. It's what we drink, so people like it. When you're not used to it, you may get a bit surprised and maybe dislike it, you know. I think the reason for using evaporated milk in Peru is just a question of ease and for transport, you know. So yeah, Peru is a very big country. It's a very, very big country. I would say probably 4 times the size of the UK, maybe. And with very inaccessible areas, so to transport milk, and you know, milk is a perishable food, so you wouldn't be able to transport and keep milk if it weren't evaporated, no? So it occupies less volume, and you just add water, you rehydrate it. It's not powdered milk, but it's a very concentrated milk, no? So when you throw concentrated milk in here, it is a wee bit like, maybe in this country you could use like cream, but we're cooking on a budget, so we're not using cream. I'm going to add a wee bit of milk. Now the risk of cooking with milk that hasn't got a high content of fat is that it may split. So that will not make for a great appearance, but it won't affect the flavor. But that is a risk of, sometimes you can add the milk at the end, but I want to add it now and let it evaporate a wee bit. So that is our locro nearly ready. Okay. Okay. You know, I'm not going to, don't think I'm going to take it much farther. You want the potatoes to be cooked. I'm just going to keep it a wee bit more. Okay, so next, next cookery program, we are probably going to make this saltado de atún I was telling you about. And this saltado de atún is, it comes from Chinese cookery. So we will be exploring this other area of, so we've done Japanese influenced, with Japanese, Spanish, Arab influenced, that ceviche. Then today this is our criollo food, which is a mix between Spanish cookery and an indigenous Peruvian cookery. And then we're going to be doing a Chinese influence next time. We also made a arroz chaufa, which is also Chinese influenced. So one thing I wanted to remind you, please, if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can, once we've got 100 subscribers, we can start to customizing our YouTube channel so that we can offer you a better experience. And also, if you could fill in our evaluation forms, our feedback forms for the program. Chris, our media volunteer, will be putting the link for the feedback in the descriptions a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going to serve this. This is practically done. Okay, let's see. What you want? Okay, this is getting there. Okay, you could make it maybe a wee bit juicier, but this is looking okay. So to serve our locro, I'm going to get a wee bit of rice. A ver. So we're going to serve a little bit of rice like that. Next, we're going to use our locro de zapallo. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Margarita Fernandez-Baca. Hello, Margarita. Thank you very much for watching our program. Yeah, this salad, I mean, who wouldn't want to eat that salad, eh? That salad you find in a Peruvian table all the time. It is super typical, and it's so nice, honestly. Okay, so this is our locro. You know, I would maybe leave it cooking for a wee bit longer and get the potatoes a wee bit softer. But that sort of, yeah, that will do. that will do. But yeah, I don't want to keep you here like 2 hours waiting, you know, to see how this looks like. But you would do like that, and then you put a wee bit of aside, and you would serve a little bit of your ensalada criolla with a wee lemon there, and that would sort of be your cooking on a budget locro de zapallo. Okay, hi Vicky, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos, Vicky? We've got some other international friends around visiting our channel today. Sí, Vicky, pues next time I see you, we can cook one of those dishes for you guys. Yes, well, that is all we've got for you today. I hope you like it, and more than anything, I hope you make it at home, because as you saw, it is another of those dishes that you basically just throw everything in the pot practically, and throw everything on the pot and just let it cook, you know, with a bit of rice. So I've made this dish for around less than 5 pounds, and I've got enough for at least 6 people here. So you're eating for less than a pound, you know. So I mean, I'm sure this is a great cooking on a budget recipe. The most expensive part was probably the chili paste from the Asian shop, but this keeps for ages, and you can throw this in anything you want, you know. There are tons of things you can use to flavor your dishes with a little bit of this. It's a very, very mild chili paste, so you can throw a couple of spoonfuls in and you won't burn your tongue off. There's Diego. ¿Qué tal, Diego? Diego is my best friend from since I'm probably 14, 15, from Peru. So lives in Spain, and thanks to YouTube, everyone can watch our cooking programs all around the world. So this is quite interesting. Diego, a ver si no te puedes hacer un locrito cuando quieras. Diego's got a direct line access for any other consultancy in cooking, so that's quite handy. Bueno, guys, thank you very much, and I hope to see you next week. I hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to fill in our evaluation form. Sí, por favor no se olviden de llenar el link con una pequeña encuesta que hay al final del vídeo. Bueno, thank you very much, guys, and see you next week. Keep safe. Yeah.